My siblings are in an incestuous relationship, but I'm the one getting shunned. I won't specify ages, but all persons are in their 20s. I have two younger siblings who are twins. Over the past year, their relationship has changed after a life-changing event happened to one of them. It started with subtle stuff that could almost be called normal. Calling each other pet names, him complimenting her, etc. But gradually it got more overt to the point of them kissing and making not-so-subtle comments that implied they were having more passionate hugging. I have a young family, and I made the decision that while their incestuous relationship continues, that my family and I will be staying away from them. The rest of the family claim to support my decision, but they won't be doing the same thing as me. Since we've made this decision, I've noticed the rest of the family withdrawing from us. We still get invited to whole family functions, and we'll go if the twins aren't attending. But we're seeing posts about game nights and barbecues the family are having that we haven't been invited to. I feel so frustrated that to my family, drawing the line at incest makes me the bad guy and results in my sons missing out on time with their cousins and aunts and uncles. The top post is, "What in the Lannister?" Our next Reddit post is from the Midnight Stylist. I'm so distraught. I never would have thought anything like this would happen. While my husband was over at my sister and her boyfriend's house, helping them with something, I guess my brother-in-law caught my husband peeking on my sister while she was using the restroom and it got physical. My husband left with a broken nose, black eyes, and his lip was pretty busted up. When my brother-in-law called me and told me what happened, he asked me if I was safe and if I needed help getting away from my husband. My husband has been on a rampage saying that he's going to sue my brother-in-law for assault and emotional distress and make him pay the hospital bill, which wasn't even very expensive. We have great insurance, so what the hell? He also claims that he was just checking on her because after her miscarriage, he's worried about her. But my brother-in-law said that my husband had his hand down his pants while he was looking into the restroom. I've been staying with a friend of mine and my daughter. What the f do I do? Divorce? Counseling? Is my sister okay? How long has he been doing this for? Am I not good enough? Am I not satisfying him? What the f do I do? Then OP posted an update. Counseling was his idea, not mine. He begged and pleaded for me to consider counseling while I was packing mine and my daughter's bags to go stay with a friend. I'm obviously not staying with him anymore. I was just mourning the man that I thought that he was, and that I've spent 10 years with. My sister and daughter will forever be my top priority to me, and I'll never put them in danger. And yes, I am of course going to believe the victim. Not once did I doubt my brother-in-law. Our next Reddit post is from Intelligent Bison. My adult kids were over last night. My oldest is Ashley, who's 34, and my middle daughter, Mary, is 33. Unfortunately, Mary lost her husband 7 years ago to suicide. Ashley and Mary joke a lot. Mary and I had a long talk, and she's decided to not date and remain absent in her second life. She has 2 kids and kind of a mean sense of humor. Ashley is divorced with no children. Ashley jokes too, but her jokes also come across harsh. So anyways, last night they were joking, and Mary said something along the lines of, "It's the uneven eyebrows for me." And Ashley said, "It's the dead husband for me." Mary did not laugh. She just straight-faced sat there and turned and watched the TV. Then Ashley was like, "Oh wow, you can dish it out, but you can't take it." And they sat in silence. I left the room to keep fixing dinner, but I came back to a shouting match between them. My youngest was trying to calm them down, but finally Ashley said, "No wonder your husband shot himself if he was hearing this every day." Mary looked at Ashley for a few seconds, then took off her wedding ring, placed it on the end table by where she was standing, then grabbed Ashley's hair and started beating the crap out of her. Ashley fought back but couldn't do much since her hair was being pulled down. I was in shock, but a part of me, as horrible as it sounds, felt like she kind of deserved it. Like their Nana said, you play with the match, you might just start a fire. Finally, it was getting bad. My youngest was pulling the two apart, and I also started pulling. Ashley had a Stanley Cup that was now on the ground. When we pulled Mary off, Ashley got up. Mary grabbed the Stanley Cup and threw it at Ashley's forehead. Ashley fell down and laid there for a minute. She was conscious, but it took her a second. Her sister took her to the doctor this morning. She has a concussion. I'll be taking care of her for a while. But that's kind of what happens. Yeah, that is what happens. Vim's fighting words. And I like how it seemed like Mary took a few seconds to be like, wow, she actually said that. Do I need to teach this woman a lesson and knock her out? You know what? I think I do. Don't want to damage my wedding ring, though. Pop, 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 pop. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. I'm tired of being famous, and it's not when I won anymore. I've been out of the spotlight recently, but I've been doing this for over a decade now. Taurus albums, etc. It's exhausting, and I don't know if I'm ready to go back. I still love making music, but I used to love performing and interacting with fans. Now I feel like I'm trapped. I know a lot of people dream about being in my position, but I've been just so burnt out. I wish I could walk down the street without feeling like everyone is watching me. I want to go to the grocery store without a hoodie and sunglasses, pretending I'm someone else just to avoid being spotted. The constant pressure to be perfect, always on, always performing. It's exhausting. Don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly grateful for everything, but damn, the personal cost feels so heavy. Having a real conversation with someone outside the industry feels impossible. Everyone is either in it for the clout or some connection. It's hard to tell who's genuine. And that's a lonely place to be. Lately, I wonder what my life would have been like if I'd never gotten famous. Would I be happier, more grounded? I guess I'll never know, but I can't help but think about it more and more lately. Then, beneath that, we have a similar story from actually a normal person, which can give some empathy. Unspecific Direction writes, I'm not famous in any way, shape, or form, but I was invited by a friend to go to a smaller, more isolated town in China that doesn't normally get tourists. And I had one of the strangest experiences of my life. I'm a very white, decent-looking blonde woman, and people were taking pictures of me everywhere. As soon as we left the hotel, someone would take pictures of me. Either me ordering food at a food court, walking up to me in the park and stealing a selfie, etc. I cannot stress enough how weird that feels. At first, you think it's kind of fun and flattering. Then, after walking for a whole day and you're sweaty, tired, and grungy, you start to get annoyed. Then that builds up, and you get paranoid, which makes you more tired and exhausted. People think you're special, but inside you feel like you always have, like you're a normal person doing normal things. After 2 weeks of this, I was happy not to have to take another picture ever again, and not to have people staring. And I'm not even famous. I get to go home and say bye-bye to a surreal vacation and to start them. I cannot imagine that being my life. It lost its novelty quickly. Money and fame doesn't shield you from feeling the pressure. I'm sorry, OP, if you're struggling. Yeah, I had a similar experience as a white guy in some rather small towns in China. I know what, this second person is talking about, and I can't even imagine what OP is going for. Because whatever level of fame that I have as r/ isn't even close to this dude. I've been recognized, I think twice in one of those times I was wearing a name tag. Our next Reddit post is from Nevermind. I can't forgive my husband for what he did when our son died. I'm a 41-year-old woman, and I've been married for 21 years to my husband, who's 41, and we have several children. One of them was special needs. He was born with a genetic mutation that neither of us carry. It was just random chance. He was sick most of his life, and I was his primary caregiver. He needed nursing home level care. I had a nurse that came to help me a few days a week. My husband, his father, didn't help much at all, no matter how much I asked for his help. He was always too busy or too tired and complained about back pain. Our son lived for 15 years. I carried him, took care of all of his needs, did his meds, his tube feeding, and stayed up with him at night, etc. I had to take up bodybuilding to be strong enough to transfer him to and from his wheelchair, or bed, or couch, or anything because my husband wouldn't help. I suffered back injuries and even had to crawl on the floor at times to meet my son's needs. He still didn't help. He might change a diaper now and then win a prize for doing so. I couldn't divorce him because I couldn't have a job while also caring for our son. My son's needs got greater and greater as he got older. By the time that he died, he was on 6 seizure medications and had several machines that he had to use for part of each day. Still, he was a happy, joyful child that loved life and was a joy to be. He was always laughing and playing and very loved by me and his siblings. When he died, we knew that it was coming. It was in the hospital with him, and he died in my arms. Peacefully and not in pain. It was the worst moment of my life. An hour after he died, my husband started going on about how he wanted to spend my son's life insurance money on an expensive four-wheeler. My husband decided that because the policy was through his work and under his name, that the money belonged to him. I hated this idea and wanted to put the money towards our house. But he spent it, all of it. He knew I didn't want that, and he told everyone that I was on hard with it, and then acted shocked when I yelled at him for spending the top money. He told his family that I didn't tell him this until after, but at this point, even his family sees how awful he acted. He never helped take care of our son, and then blew all the life insurance money. To make matters worse, he tricked one of our adult sons into paying for the cremation. I paid my son back immediately when I found out. I can't forgive this man. I'm so angry beyond words. I'm also financially trapped as I have no work history for the last 21 years. I hate this. Stories like this make me understand why you'll see those Netflix documentaries about a wife or a husband who goes ballistic and just murders their spouse. Because if I were married to this guy, I'd be contemplating murder too. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. I'm a 47-year-old woman and I lost my virginity to my dad's best friend Andy when I was 20. At the time, Andy was around 40. Andy was an amazing guy. He could tell a story that kept you on the edge of your seat, from beginning to end, or make you snort with laughter for hours. I was living with my parents and commuting to college. My parents were going through a rough patch, so Andy came over a lot to drink with my dad in the basement and listen to him whine about my mom. My original bedroom had been turned into a sewing room for my mom after I finished high school, so I slept in the Manwater extra room in the basement. That meant that I saw a lot of Andy. My dad frequently passed out in his chair, and Andy would come hang out in my room with me. The night that it happened was basically the same as any other night that we hung out. Something caused the mood to change, and the next thing I know, we're going at it on my bed. It was incredible. He was so gentle and mindful of my needs. It was perfect for my first time. We did it a lot after that. We would sometimes meet somewhere else, but it was usually in my room after my dad fell asleep. I absolutely fell in love with this. I knew that we could never actually be together, but I couldn't stop myself either. We stopped passionately hugging after about 2 years. He met someone closer to him in age. She had no desire to have kids just like him. I wanted kids, which was a major reason that a real relationship never happened. Andy died when I was 34. I was devastated because a part of me never stopped loving him. My dad couldn't understand why I could barely function for about a week. I couldn't tell him the truth. I knew he'd be furious, and I didn't want to ruin his memories of Andy. I found some pictures of him in the back of my dad's closet while we were packing up for him to move. They were from around the same time frame that he took my virginity. Andy's been gone so long, but seeing those pictures felt like reopening the wounds. I guess I'll never really get over his death completely. I'm married now with 3 amazing children, and I'm happy, but they say that you never forget your first time, and I'll never forget that wonderful man. This top post from Cyborg Fish Daddy. Dad, why are you so sad? Daughter, you had a friend in me. Man, I don't know if Andy was either super ballsy or if your dad was intentionally ignoring it, but sleeping with your friend's daughter while your friend is asleep in the other room is a level of obliviousness that you actually see in adult videos. Our next Reddit post is from Cultural Back. I've been dating my boyfriend for about 2 months. We met online and get along great. He's really smart and funny, but also pretty shy. A while ago, we were at a dinner date and everything was going well up until the car ride home. He seemed a bit antsy, but I didn't think much of it. We parked outside and were headed towards the door to my apartment complex when he stopped and made a face like he was really uncomfortable. I looked at him and saw that he had wet his pants. It wasn't a lot, but there was definitely a stain around his crotch. We kind of just stood there and looked at each other for a minute before hitting inside. When we got to my apartment, he ran to my bathroom and was in there for a while. When he came out, he didn't really look me in the eye and said something about how he had to head home. He didn't talk to me for a few days afterwards, but then called me and tried to explain. He told me that he has a medical issue that causes him to have a weak bladder. He thought that he could make it back to my place in time, but that obviously didn't work out. He didn't go into much detail, but over the phone it sounded like he was on the verge of tears. I reassured him and let him know that there was no issue between us. When we ended the call, he seemed in better spirits and we're planning on seeing each other soon. Now, the issue is that seeing my boyfriend wet himself turned me on a lot. The look on his face and seeing that small wet spot on his pants was really hot to me, for some reason. I feel so bad because he has a medical condition and is obviously ashamed by it. But the embarrassment is part of what turns me on. I want to be a supportive partner to my blessed boyfriend, but a not-so-small part of me is hoping that it happens again. Does it make me a bad person if I bring this up to him? Would he be willing to do it again in front of me? Well, Opie, look at it this way. Your boyfriend opened up to you, and you responded with empathy, understanding, and patience. So ideally, you can open up to him and he will respond to you in the exact same way. Now, I can't say if Opie has pants for you, but I'm saying you seem to have decent communication. So just give it a shot. Hopefully your boyfriend doesn't get too pissed off about it. And if you're lucky, you might even get pissed on. That was our slash off my chest. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit episodes every single day.